meeting. So again, my name is Coach Ben and I will be handling Primary 5 HKIMO mock test. So logical thinking, we have given A and B are two non-zero digits, and the two-digit numbers formed by these two digits have the following properties. Number AB is divisible by 5. B, AB is a square number. Oh, okay, it just opened. Okay, so AB is a square number. Find the digit. Find the two-digit number. Okay, everyone is saying it's 25. Very good. So the people saying it's 25, that's the correct answer. Let's go over it step by step. So if AB is divisible by 5, that means B must be either 0 or 5. If AB as well is a square number, that means the only square number that ends with 0 or 5 are 125, except that 100 is no longer a two-digit number. So this is not possible. AB equal to 25 is the only possible answer for this problem. So the correct answer, again, one more time, is 25. So I think that was a very simple and straightforward problem. Majority got it right. Primary 5. Yeah, this is primary 5. Okay. So let's continue. Number 2, Amy's walking speed is 6 meters per second. She walks home to the shopping mall in 4 minutes. She walks from home to the shopping mall in 4 minutes. What is the distance between Amy's home and the shopping mall in meters? Okay, I see Jaira is raising their hand. Jaira, do you want to answer this problem?
Uh, Opo, sir. Uh, may I annotate?
Yes, you may.
So, to answer this problem, we must get the average walking s- ano? Wait, walk wait, walking speed per time. Wait, I'll just run.
Okay.
Walking speed per time. So it says 4 minutes, but here it says seconds. So to get the walking speed in for each minute, we must multiply 6 by 60,
Okay, very good.
which we get 360. And then we're, we're gonna do 360 times 4, which is equals to 1440.
Okay, very good. So the correct answer should be 1,440. Thank you for that, Jaire. And to double check, I think I saw someone say 1.44 kilometers. That is sort of correct. They are both equal, but the question is specifically asking for in meters. So that might not be considered, okay? So always answer in the correct units. So if it's asking for meters, you can answer 1,440 without meters already because the question is asking for in meters. So sige, let's solve it again one more time. So since the given problem tells us that Amy is walking at 6 meters per second, she walks from home to the shopping mall in 4 minutes. What is the distance between Amy's home and the shopping mall in minutes? So first step is we have to figure out how fast Amy can walk in a minute since the original time is 6 meters per second. So 6 meters per second, we just multiply that with 60 seconds per minute. So 6 meters times 60, Amy can walk 360 meters in 1 minute. times, since Amy walked 4 minutes, so that means 360 times 4, that's 1,440 meters. And again, you no longer need to answer with units if the question gave us specific units to answer in. You can just answer 1,440, and that should be the correct answer for number 2. So very good, everyone. For everyone that answered 1,440, that is correct. And again, is 1,440 without the M okay? Yes, it's okay without the M. So let's move on to number 3. Peter walks for 300 meters and his walking speed is 5 meters per second. How many seconds is or are required? Okay, sorry for that. Okay, so for this one, all we have to do is figure out how long Peter has been walking. Okay, I see Ray is raising her hand. Ray, do you want to answer this one?
So, so to solve this question, we should divide 300 meters by 5. Definitely we get 60. It's 60 seconds.
Okay, very good. So the answer again is 60 seconds. You can just answer in. You can just write 60 in your papers. So let's double check. Remember, the formula is just distance is equal to speed times the time. We are already given the distance as well as the speed. So we can divide the distance by the speed to get how long Peter was walking. So again, the distance is 300 meters. His walking speed is 5 meters per second. So this gives us 60 seconds as our final answer. Or just, again, 60. When answering, just answer in numericals as much as possible. Okay, so number 4, John needs 21 days to finish a project. How can I type fractions in the test? Okay, so when you're typing fractions, just very quickly. For example, if you want to type 2 over 3, you can just use a slash, 2 slash 3. Or if you want to type 5 over 4, you can just do 5 slash 4. That's just an example because one of your classmates asked how to type fractions in the test. Okay, so let's try to solve the problem. John needs 21 days to finish a project. Mary needs 42 days to finish the same project. If John and Mary do the project together, how long do they need to finish it? Okay, I see Ray is raising her hand. You want to solve for this one?
For John, on 1 days. Plus open minus 1. Minus 1 over 42 days. It's equal to 1 over over 6. So
Okay, it's plus. Very good.
the LCD of this fraction is 42 because we have one table of 2 plus 1. If we retain it right here, it's equal to so it's plus 3 over 52 equal to 1 over x. Simplify it, then we divided it by 2. So 42 divided by 3 is equal to 20.
Okay, very good. So the answer should be 14 days. So thank you, Ray. Let's go over it one more time. So all we need to do for this one is add how fast both John and Mary can finish the project individually to get how fast they can finish it together. So why do we do 1 over 21? Because John can finish 1/21 of the project in a day. Plus, this is how much Mary can finish the project in a day, 1/42 of the project. So when we add them together, when adding fractions, all we have to do is get the LCM or LCD of the two denominators, and 2 plus 1, that's 3/42. Simplified, that means John and Mary together can finish the project or can finish 1/14 of the project, in a day. So that means they need the reciprocal, which is 14 days to finish the project, or simply 14. Okay, so for everyone that also answered 14, that is correct. Very good. Okay, what about number 5? Ming's grandmother's age this year adds 14, multiples 2, minuses 56, and then divided by 9 will be 16 years old. How old is Ming's grandmother this year? So, okay, I see Jaire is raising their hand. Jaire, do you want to answer this one?
Yes, sir. May I annotate?
Yes, you may.
So this type of question is reverse. So that means that uh multiplication like wait multiplication becomes wait uh, my drawings are a bit multiplication becomes division and then and then addition becomes subtraction and then vice versa. So so to answer this problem, uh it says here divides by 9 and then becomes so it says divides by 9 and it becomes 16. So we will do the exact opposite of it. So it's 16 times 9, which is equal to 144, I think. And
Correct.
then it says minus is 56. So we're gonna do the opposite. 144 plus 56, which is equal to 200.
Correct.
And then it says multiplies 2. So we're gonna do divided by 2. So 200 divided by 2 is equal to 100. And then the final one, which is adds 14. So we're gonna do minus is 14. 100 minus 14, which is equals to 86.
Okay, very good. So the answer should be 86. I think everyone also answered 86. So thank you for that, Jaire. Let's just go over it one more time, okay? So all we have to do for this one is we back solve. When we're back solving, we have to do the order of operations in reverse as well as the opposite operation dictated by the problem. So we start with the result, and then if it says divides by 9, we multiply by 9. 16 times 9 is 144. And then it says 144 minus 56. So we add 56 instead to get 200. Next, it says multiplies by 2. So we divide by 2. 200 divided by 2. That gives us 100. And then lastly, 100 minus 14. That is 86. So the final answer should be 86 for problem number 5. Are there any questions for number 5? Ray, do you have a question?
Have a different find solution. We just answer the report.
Yeah, you can do that as well. So that's the fun thing about math. You can have different solutions. Sige, let's try number 6. A stationery store had a batch of ball pens. 1/2 and 5 more pens were sold on the first day. 1/2 of the remaining part and 8 more pens were sold on the second day. Finally, 24 ball pens are left. How many ball pens did the stationery store have originally? Okay, I see Kenzo is raising their hand. Kenzo, do you want to answer this one?
Oh, yes, please. Okay, thanks, Chair. Here I just backstop, but here's the catch. I just put the same operation. So here's an example. It says here for the second to last sentence, 1/2 of the remaining part and 8 part pets were sold on on the second day. I just add 24 plus 8, 32. Then times 2, because it's 1/2, we get 64. Then we get to the first day now. So it's 64 now, plus 5, because it says 5 more. 69. And then do the same thing, times 2, we get 138.
Okay, very good. So the final answer should be 138. So let's go over Kenzo's solution one more time in case others might be a bit confused. So all we have to do is still back solve. But instead of subtracting because it says 8 more, we have to add. So 24 plus 8 is equal to 32. That means 32 pence were the half of the remaining part after the first day. So divided by 1 minus 1/2. 32 divided by 1/2 is equal to 32 times 2 or 64. And then we repeat the process. 64 plus 5 divided by 1 minus 1/2. And that's again 69 times 2, 138. So why do we do 1 minus 1/2 instead of just doing times 2? Because sometimes the question might ask 1/3 were sold. So if you were to do 1/3 and just multiply it by times 3, you are going to get the wrong answer. If it says 1/3, you have to do divided by 1 minus 1/3 or divided by 2/3. If, for example, it was asking for 2/3. So again, the answer should be 138. Are there any questions for number 6? If there are questions and they're in Vietnam and they're in a foreign language, I can't understand them, sorry. So if you can try to ask a question in English, that would be great. Okay, so moving on to arithmetic, we have find the value of 111,000. 111 times 111,000, 111. So does anybody want to volunteer for number 7? Okay, I see Kenzo is raising their hand. Kenzo, do you want to answer this? Oh, sorry. Kenzo, do you want to answer this one?
Yes, please. So here it's a natural pattern, you see. The pattern is that 1 times 1 is just 1, 11 times 11 is 121, and then 111 times 111 is 1. Since here we have 6 ones, it's safe to assume that the number will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's
Okay,
my
very
answer.
good. So that becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So when we're multiplying by ones or 11s, they are in a natural pattern. The number of digits will just give you just have to count till you get there. So 11 is 2 digits. So 1, 2, and then you go back down. Since 111 has 6 digits, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you go back down again to 1. And that's just the pattern when you're multiplying 100 or numbers by 1. Okay? Okay, so are there any questions for number 7? Okay, so I don't think there are any questions. So let's move on to number 8. Find the value. Teacher, I did not get to finish copying number 6. Okay, sige, let's go over number 6 very quickly. But you don't really need to copy the solutions because all of this will be recorded. But let's just go over number 6 very quickly, okay? Since one of your classmates is asking. So number 6, all we have to do again is start at the end, 24. Since it says 8 more, we plus 8 divided by 1 minus, since it says 1 half, 1 minus 1 half. So that's 32 divided by 1 half, or 32 times 2, that's 64. And then we do it again, 64 plus 5 divided by 1 minus 1 half. And that is 69 divided by 1 half, or 69 times 2, 138. What if it says 1/3 instead? So for example, if it says 1/3 here, like 1/3 and 5 more, then you would do 69. Oh, we can't do it there. For example, if it says 1 half. So if it says 1/3 here, 1/3 of the remaining part and 8 more pence, then you would do 24 plus 8 divided by 1 minus 1/3, and that becomes 32 divided by 2/3, or 32 times 3 over 2, or 48. Okay, so I think we can move on to number 8. So number 8, find the value of 1 over 1 half, 1 over 1 times 2, plus 1 over 2 times 3, plus 1 over 3 times 4, up until 1 over 21 times 22. Okay, I see Max Oliver is raising their hand. Max, do you want to answer this one?
Yeah, sure. May I annotate?
Yes, you may.
First, we need to see if the fractions and the denominator and the numerator have the same difference. This is 1, and 2 minus 1 is also 1. And it's already the same. So you can simplify it to becoming 1 out of 1 minus 1 out of 22, which is 21 out of 22. Thank you.
Okay, very good. So the answer is 21 over 22. So let's just expand the solution a bit. So whenever you are given something like 1 over 1 times 2, 1 over 2 times 3, this is just equal to 1 over 1 minus 1 over 2, and 1 over 2 times 3 is equal to 1 over 2 minus 1 over 3 plus 1 over 3 minus 1 over 4, up until 1 over 20 minus 1 over 21 plus 1 over 21 minus 1 over 22. So notice that everything gets canceled out except for the first and last term. So what you get then is, so this is where we get 1 minus 1 over 22, or 22 minus 1 over 22 to get 21 over 22. So I think everyone what if the numerator is 2? So if the numerator is 2, for example, everything was this way, you can just factor out 2 to get 2 times 1 over 1 minus 1 over 2 plus 1 over 2 up until minus 1 over 22. So that becomes 2 times 1 minus 1 over 22. Okay, so are there any more questions for number 8? Okay, so I don't think there are any more questions. I think we can move on to number 9. Reminders for everyone, we will be having our 10-minute break after number 18, okay? So for number 9, sorry, for number 9, find the value of 1 times 2 plus 2 times 3 plus 3 times 4 up until 19 times 20. So does anybody want to volunteer for number 19? Okay, I see Jaira is raising their hand. Do you want to answer for this one?
Yes, sir. May I annotate?
Yes, you may.
So to get the answer for this, uh, rem reminders that 19 or second largest number is equal to n. So the formula for this is n. Wait. N times n plus uh wait wait. So the formula for this is n times n plus 1
Correct.
times n plus 2 divided by 3. So uh so to get this, 19 times 20 times 21 divided by 3. So we can cancel 21 and 3, which is 7. I did 140 times 19, which is equals to 2,800 minus 140, which is equals to 2,660. If I'm not.
Okay, very good. Okay, I'm confused. Okay, let's go over number 9 one more time. Uh, I think I have also a slightly different solution so that it's a bit less confusing, but it's a bit longer as well. So for this one, all we have to do is separate 1 times 2 plus 2 times 3 plus 3 times 4 into the sum of natural squares. So again, thank you for the answer, Jaire. And the others are also saying it's 2,660. So let's double check. So all we have to do for this one is, so I think some of your classmates are a bit confused. So let's break it down into a simpler version, okay? So all we have to do for this one is we can actually divide each of the terms into the sum of natural squares plus n. So 1 times 2 is equal to, okay, very good. Sum of squares plus sum of consecutive integers. So 1 times 2 is actually just equal to 1 squared plus 1, right? And then 2 times 3 is equal to 2 squared plus 2. 3 times 4 is equal to 3 squared plus 3 up until 19 times 20 is equal to 19 squared plus 19 squared plus 19. So with this, you can observe that the answer is just the sum of the natural squares from 1 squared to 2 squared up until 19 squared plus the sum of the consecutive numbers 1 to 19. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus dot 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 plus 19. So I think this one is a bit easier to understand. So the sum of natural squares, you just have to apply the formula n times n plus 1 times 2n plus 1 divided by 6, and that is equal to 19, 20, 39 over 6. This is 2, 13, 10. So 19 times 10 times 13, that's 2,470. Next is we get the sum of the consecutive numbers. That's first plus last divided by 2 times the number of terms 19, or that's 10 times 19 plus 190. So 2,470 plus 190, that's 2,660. Okay? So you can think of it this way as well. It's a bit longer, but I think it's a bit easier to understand when you break it down into two separate equations. Okay? But you can also use Gyre solution if you want to streamline it, if you want to be a bit faster. So are there any more questions for number 9? I still don't get it though. Okay, let's go over it one more time. So each of the numbers, each of the terms, for example, 1 times 2, that's just equal to 1 squared plus 1. 2 times 3 is equal to 2 squared plus 2. Let's double check now. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 squared plus 1, that's also equal to 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 squared plus 2 is equal to 4 plus 2. That's equal to 6. So this notation is actually just equal to the n squared plus n of the terms. Because if, let's say, the smaller number is n, this is n plus 1, diba? That's n squared plus n. So this is where we get 1 squared plus 1, or 2 squared plus 2, 3 squared plus 3, up until when 19 times 20, that's 19 squared plus 19. And then we just have to apply two formulas. First, 1 squared plus 2 squared plus 19 squared, we have the formula for the sum of consecutive squares or natural squares, consecutive squares. N being the last number times n plus 1 times 2n plus 1 divided by 6. So since 19 squared is our last term, that's 19 times 20 times 39 divided by 6, and that gives you a product of 2,470. Next is, since 1 plus 2 plus 3 up until 19 is also part of our equation, we have to add this one. This is an arithmetic sequence. An arithmetic sequence has the formula of average times the number of terms, or first plus last divided by 2 times the number of terms, that's 10 times 19, or 190. So last 2,470 plus 190, that's 2,660. So are there any more questions for number 9?
Sir, is 6 constant?
6 a constant? Yes, for the sum of consecutive squares, 6 is a constant. Thank you for that.
Okay po.
So are there any more questions? Okay, so I don't see any more questions. I think we can move on to number 10. So number 10, find the value of 1,003 squared minus 997 squared. Okay, I see Kaiser is raising their hand. Kaiser, do you want to answer this one?
No, I forgot to lower my hand.
Okay. I see Ray is raising her hand. Ray, do you want to answer this one?
So this is the formula of the difference of two square. So is A plus B. A plus B. After that, it is minus B. So B is equal to 997. And A is equal to 100. Is equal to 103. May 1003. So 1003 plus 997 is equal to 2000. Find the difference of these numbers. I know the difference of this number is 6. If you combine them, if you multiply them both,
Okay, very good. So the answer should be 12,000. So let's just go over this one more time very quickly, okay? So number 10, we have 1,003 square. Thank you for that, Ray. So all we have to do for number 10, find the value of 1,003 squared minus 997 squared. Yes, you may do 1,003 squared minus 997 squared, but that's not the most efficient solution. So what we want to do is apply a formula we call the difference of two squares. So for the others that still haven't mastered this, start practicing as early as possible. The difference of two squares, if you have a squared minus b squared, that's just equal to a plus b times the difference a minus b. So a being 1,003 squared minus 997 squared, that's just equal to 1,003 plus 997 times the difference of the two numbers, which is 1,003 minus 997, and that's 2,000 times 6. That's 12,000 as your final answer. So this saves you a lot more time and you're less likely to make mechanical mistakes. So are there any questions for number 10? Okay, so I don't think there are any questions for number 10. Then let's move on to number 11. Okay, so for number 11, we have find the value of 1 over 2 plus 1 over 4 plus 1 over 8 up until 1 over 64. Okay, I see Madrick is raising their hand. Do you want to solve for this one?
Yes, sir. I want to solve for this one.
Okay.
Sir, so can I annotate?
Yes, you may.
Okay, sir. Sir, to solve this problem, first we need to calculate the LCM of all the given fractions. That is 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 8 plus 1 by 16 plus 1 by 32 plus 1 by 64.
Okay.
So like when we calculate the LCM, we get a total of 64. So as we get 64, then we multiply the given solution like this. 1 over 1 into 32. Sorry. plus 1 into 16 plus 1 into 8 plus 1 into 4 plus 1 into 2 plus 1 into 1. So, as we add up these given terms, we get 32 plus 16 plus 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1 over 64, which is equals to 63 by 64.
Okay, very
Sir,
good.
done.
Thank you for that. So the correct answer should be 63 over 64. And yes, you may add the fractions individually by getting their LCM, but I'm going to show you an easier solution, okay? In case, because for this problem, there's only 6 fractions. But what if next time there's like 10 fractions and there's so many numbers? It'll take too long to add them individually. So we can actually use an identity called 2s minus s identity because these numbers are actually what we call are in a geometric sequence. So a geometric sequence is similar to an arithmetic. If an arithmetic sequence is increasing or decreasing by a common number, a geometric sequence is multiplying or dividing by a common factor. And all of these numbers, when you rearrange them, for example, 1 over 64, 1 over 32, 1 over 16, plus 1 over 8, plus 1 over 4, plus 1 half, notice all of these numbers are actually just times 2. To get the next, you just have to multiply it by times 2. So because the numbers are times 2, let's say the original set of numbers is equal to s. So 2s is just equal to times 2 of all of this. 1 over 64 becomes 1 over 32. This becomes 1 over 16. This becomes 1 over 8. This becomes 1 over 4. This becomes 1 over 2. This becomes plus 1. So when you subtract 2s minus s, or you subtract this with all of this, everything gets canceled. 1 half, 1/4, 1/8, 1/16, and 1 over 32. And all you're left is 1 minus 1 over 64. So when you master this, you can actually start solving this mentally. So 1 minus 1 over 64, that's 63 over 64. So you still get the same answer. Okay? So in case the problem gets very big, like it gets to 1 over 1024, I want you guys to start practicing this method as well. The 2s minus s identity. Okay? Are there any questions for number 11? Okay, so I don't think there are any questions for number 11. Again, whenever the fractions are very small, like only 5 or 4 items, yes, you may just add them individually. But in case it gets too big, please start using the 2s minus s identity. Okay, for this one, find the value of 2.01 times 10 plus 2.01 times 20 plus 2.01 times 30 plus 2.01 times 40. Okay, I see Marcus Jimenez is raising their hand. Marcus, do you want to answer?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
The answer is 201.
Okay,
I can do it by just grouping.
very good.
2.01 times 10 times open parenthesis 10 plus 20 plus 30 plus 40 close plus 5, which is 2.01 times 100, which is quadruple.
Okay, thank you for that, Marcus. So let's just go over number 12 very quickly one more time, okay? So again, for this problem, you can just do 2.01 times 10 up until 2.01 times 40, but that's not the Olympiad solution. That's not the fastest nor the most efficient solution. For this one, what we want to use is the distributive property of multiplication. So the distributive property, for the others that are unfamiliar, tells us that if you have A times B plus A times C plus A times D, when all of them share the same multiplier, we can factor out the multiplier and add first the other numbers. So B plus C plus D, and these will have the same sum. So you just have to apply it for the original problem. Notice that all of the numbers have the same multiplier of 2.01. So we can easily apply the distributive property of multiplication to get factor out. We just do the reverse. We factor out, we do the reverse. So factor out 2.01, and this is 2.01 plus 10. 2.01 times 10 plus 20 plus 30 plus 40. We get 2.01 times 100. And then we just add, since it's times 100, we just move the decimal places 2 points. So 1, 2, that becomes 201. Are there any questions for number 12? Okay, I don't think there are any questions for number 12. I think we can move on to we can start with number theory now. So number theory, this is the third part of the test. Define the operation symbol. A operation B, A times B plus B plus 7. Find the value of 4 operation, parenthesis, 2 operation 3, close parenthesis. So, okay, I see Max Oliver is raising their hand. Max, do you want to answer this one?
Sure. First, because the operation symbol is A times B plus B times plus 7. So if 2 is A and B is 3, in this case, we can do it by 2 times 3 plus 3 plus 7. This is 6 and this is 10. So 6 plus 10 is equals to 16. 4 times 16 plus 16 plus 7. This is 64, this is 80, and this is 87. So the answer is 87.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Max. The answer should be 87. Let's just go over it very quickly. So this problem, for the others that are unfamiliar, gives us a custom operation or a unique operation only for this problem. So we just have to then apply. So if the number on the left is A and the number on the right is B, that means in this instance, 2 is your A, 3 is your B. So why do we do this one first? It's because it's enclosed in a parenthesis. So just apply 2 operation 3. That's 2 times 3 plus 3 plus 7, or 6 plus 3 plus 7, and that's 16. So that means the next part is 4 operation 16. And that becomes 4 times 16 plus 16 plus 7, and that's 64 plus 16 plus 7, or 80 plus 7, and the final answer should just be 87. Okay? Are there any questions for number 13? Okay, I don't think there are any questions. Okay, how about number 14? Find the number of factors for 901. Okay, I see Lynn is raising their hand. Lynn, I'm really sorry if I can't pronounce your name. Lynn Thoria.
Okay, so basically what we need to do is find the prime factorization of 901, which is 11753. And so basically, wait, no, it's just 17 and 53. So basically just 17, after over 17, there's power 1. So in this case, we add the powers by 1. So it will be 2 times 2. So which would be 4.
Very good. Thank you for that, Lynn. The correct answer should be 4. So whenever you're being asked the problem, find the number of factors for a certain number, the only thing you have to do is express that number in prime factors. And then after you get the prime factors of that number, you take the exponents. For 17 and 53, they have the hidden exponents of 1. After you take any of the exponents, you just add each of them by 1, then you multiply. So 1 for the 17 here, plus 1, that's 2. For the 53, it has another hidden exponent of 1 plus 1, that's 2 again, giving us 4 factors, which are 1, 17, 53, and 901. Okay, are there any questions for number 14? Okay, I don't think there are any questions. I think we can move on to number 15. Okay, number 15, the sum of 5 consecutive numbers is 125. Find the middle number. Okay, I see Ray is raising their hand. Ray, do you want to answer this one?
Yes, yes. It is really simple because it's 125 divided by 5. But it doesn't even use a condition. It's 525.
Okay, very good. So the answer is just 25. So let's thank you for that, Ray. Let's go over this one more time. So just to explain how we got 25, remember if you have 5 consecutive numbers, if the middle number is x, the fourth number is x plus 1, the biggest number is x plus 2, then the second smallest is x minus 1, and the smallest is x minus 2. The sum of all 5 of this is just 5x is equal to 125. That's how we got 125 divided by 5. So whenever you're being asked the question, the sum of n numbers is m, you just divide the sum by the number of numbers to get the middle number. So 125 divided by 5, that's 25. And since we're looking for the middle number, then the final answer for number 15 should just be 25. And for the others that also answered 25, very good. That is the correct answer. So I think we can move on to number 16. Number 16, the sum of positive numbers A and B is 480. A is 5 times of B. Find the value of A. Okay, I see Jaire is raising their hand. Jaire, do you want to answer this one?
Yes, sir. Can I annotate?
Yes, you may.
So it says the sum of positive numbers in B is 480. Is 5. So A is equal to 5B or 5 times wait, B. So the algebra to this is 480 is equal to 5B plus B, and then and then 480 is equal to is equal to 6b. So so b is equal to 480 divided by 6, which is equal to wait, yeah, 80. And then there's another step. So it says to it says to find A. So it says to find A. So A, which I said before, is 5B. 5B. Or 80 times 5. Sorry about my numbers. It is equal to 400.
Okay, very good, Jared. The correct answer should be 400. And for the others that also answered 400 in the chat, that's the correct answer. So let's go over number 16 one more time. All we have to do for this one, when you write it down algebraically, you get A is equal to 5B. And then it says A plus B is equal to 480. So when you can just substitute the value of 5B into A here. So 5B plus B is equal to 480. 6B is equal to 480. B is equal to 80. So that means A is just equal to 80 times 5 or 400. And that should be the correct answer. Okay, how about this one? How many three-digit numbers that can be divisible by 3 and has a units digit of 5 is or are there? So does anybody want to volunteer for number 17? Okay, I see Max is raising their hand. Max, do you want to answer this one?
Yeah, sure. First, from the largest three-digit number is 999, which the one that can be divisible by 3 and 5 that has a unit of 5. The first number is 15. So, because the first number is 15, you might think that it's a multiple of 15. But when you actually see the next number, it's actually 30. So, by this way, we can list, but there's also another way, but I'm going to do listing. The first number of 3-digit is 105, 100. Never mind. I cannot do it.
Oh, okay. How about I just finish for you, okay? So for this one, that was actually already half correct, Max. So first, since the problem states how many three-digit numbers that can be divisible by 3, but it also has a second condition, has a units digit of 5 is or are there. So numbers that are divisible by 3 and has a units digit of 5, you might make a mistake that these are numbers divisible by 15. But remember, numbers that are divisible by 15 also include numbers like 120, 150, which have a units digit of 0. Specifically, this problem is only asking for units digit of 5. So these are numbers like 105, these are numbers like 105, 135, up until you get to the biggest three-digit number divisible by 3 and has a units digit of 5 is 975. you can just backtrack from 999 or 990 to get a number that has a units digit of 5. So 975. So then we just apply the formula to count how many multiples are there, which is just last or biggest minus smallest divided by the skip count. So since they're skipping by 30 plus 1. So this is 870 divided by 30 plus 1. 87 divided by 3 is 29 plus 1. That's equal to 30. Okay? So are there any questions for number 17?
No.
Okay, very good. Okay, so last problem before we take our break. There are 3 prime numbers. Their product is 70. Find the value of the largest among these 3 numbers. Okay, I see Kaiser is raising their hand. Kaiser, do you want to answer this one?
No, I wanted to answer number 17. I think I have a different strategy.
Okay. We've already moved on naman. Sige. How about Ray, do you want to answer number 18?
Yes, so this is because we're going to do the prime factorization, which is 17 divided by 2 because it has a 0, so it's equal to 25. And because it has a 5 and can't be divisible by 2, so it's divisible by 5. And there is and divided by 17. Is equal to 0. We won.
Okay, very good. So the answer should be 7. So if there are 3 prime numbers, all we have to do is express it in its prime factors. You can also just observe 70 is divisible by both 5 and 7 to get the prime factors 2 times 5 times 7. And since we are looking for the largest number, the answer should just be 7. Okay, so for the others as well, thank you for that answer, Ray. And for the others that also answered 7 in chat, very good. Okay, since this is number 18, I promised you a quick break. Okay, 10-minute break. So right now, according to my time, it's 12:06. Please come back after 12 minutes. So in my time, it's 12:06. Come back. We will resume at 12:16. Okay? Can you please show the solution to number 17 again? Okay. So let's just go over number 17 very quickly, okay? So all we have to do for number 17 is first identify the proper conditions. So the conditions are a number that is divisible by 3. Oh, sorry. A number divisible by 3 and has a units digit of 5. These numbers are 105. When you write them down, you see the pattern 105, 135, and then the biggest one is 975. To get 975, you can just start counting backwards from 990 up until you get a multiple of 3 that has a units digit of 5. So minus 3, minus 3, minus 3 up until you get 975. So since 975, we just apply the solution for counting the number of multiples, which is just 975 minus 105 divided by the skip count. These numbers are skipping by 30. The next one would be 165, so on and so forth. Divided by the skip count plus 1. 975 minus 105, that's 870. Divided by 30 plus 1, that's 29 plus 1, that's 30 numbers. Okay, you're welcome. Pero, sige na, let's take our break muna. So again, let's continue at 12:16. Teacher, is the answer of question 7 has the comma? Think the answer, you no longer need to answer or place commas in your answer. Okay, hi everyone. So it's 12:16 according to my time. I hope most of you are back. Okay, I see. Okay, I think most of you are back already. I can see a lot of you here. Okay, I think we can continue. So for geometry, number 19, the perimeter of an equilateral triangle is 48 and the height is 5. Find the area. Okay, so does anybody want to volunteer for number 19? What's 18 again? Okay, let's go back one last time for number 18, okay? But we're a bit behind already, so we can't go back for a lot of the problems. So there are three prime numbers. Their product is 70. All we have to do is express 70 in prime factors to get 2 times 5 times 7. And these are the three prime factors. So we're looking for the largest. So the answer is just 7. Okay? Okay, now let's continue with number 19. I hope most of you are here already. So the perimeter of an equilateral triangle is 48 and the height is 5. Find the area. So does anybody want to volunteer for number 19? Okay, I see Ray is raising their hand. Ray, do you want to answer this one?
So this is simple because we need to divide 48 by 3, which makes 16. After that, 16 times 5 because it's the height. The formula of the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2, which is, now here it's 80. Now divided by 2 equal to 40.
Okay, very good. So the answer should be 40. So let's go over number 19 one more time. All we have to do for number 19, remember, if you have an equilateral triangle, all three sides are equal. So that means the base is going to be 16. The height is going to be 5. So the formula for a triangle is just 1/2 base times height, or 1/2 16 times 5, and that is 40. Okay, let's continue. Number 20. The sum in the area of two squares with integral side length is 100. What is the side length of the larger square? Okay, I see Jaira is raising their hand. Jaira, do you want to answer this one?
Sorry, I forgot to lower my hand.
Okay, so I don't see anyone raising their hand. How about I answer this one myself? So for this problem, okay, I see Madrick is raising their hand. Do you want to answer this
Yes,
one?
sir. Yes, sir. I do want to answer this one.
Okay.
Okay, sir. So we know that the sum of the area of two squares with integral sides is 100. So we need to find out the other two numbers when their squares are added, it results in the 100. Sorry, it results in 100. So let's find out the squares of the numbers. One square is 1. Two squares is 4. Sir, sorry, but I can't annotate. 3 square is 9, 4 square is 16, 5 square is 25, and 6 square is 36, 7 square is 49, 8 square is 64, 9 square is 81, and 10 square is 100. So here, as we need to find the numbers or the square numbers which add up to 100, I can see that 6 square and 8 square when added results in 100. So when we compare 6 and 8, the length of the larger side is 8 centimeter. No, 8 units.
Okay, very good. So the answer should be, the side length of the larger square should be 8. Okay. So all we have to do for this one, is find two squares that have a sum of 100. So that means a squared plus b squared is equal to 100. This actually becomes a Pythagorean triple where you have 6, 8, and 10. Or a Pythagorean triple of 3, 4, 5. 3 times 2, 4 times 2, and 5 times 2. So if you have a hypotenuse of 10, that means the side lengths must be 4 times 2 and 3 times 2, or 6 squared plus 8 squared. And that's 36 plus 64, that's 100. So that means since we're looking for the side length of the larger square, the side length is 8. Okay, let's try solving number 21. What is the sum of exterior angles of a heptagon or a 7-sided polygon? So does anybody want to volunteer for number 21? Okay, I see Ray is raising their hand.
So the sum of exterior angles. So in every polygon, the sum of exterior angles is always 3.
Okay, very good. 360. Can you put degrees with your answers? You may, but you don't have to anymore. So, thank you for that, Ray. The answer should be 360. So, by definition, the sum of any polygon, exterior angles, will be 360. Even if it's a 3, 4, or 5-sided polygon, the sum of its exterior angles will always be 360. The individual angle changes, but the sum will always be 360 by definition. Okay, what about number 22? A pyramid has 1,002 vertices. How many faces does this pyramid have? So does anybody want to volunteer for number 22? Okay, I see Jaira is raising their hand. Jaira, do you want to answer this one?
Yes. May I annotate?
Yes, you may.
So to get the faces, first we must get the sides. So sides is equal to vertices minus 1. I believe I almost forgot. I honestly forgot the solution, so I'm just guessing. So 1,002 minus 1. Wait. Minus 1 is equal to 1,001. And so faces is equal to S plus 1, which is equals to 1,001 plus 1 is equal to 1,002.
Okay, very good. So the answer for number 22 is just the same. The number of faces and vertices of a pyramid are just equal. So if a pyramid has 1,002 vertices, it also has 1,002 faces. So let's just go over this very quickly, okay? So the formula for pyramids, if you have an n-sided base, so for the others, a pyramid, okay, I'm bad at drawing, but if you can imagine. So this is the top view of the pyramid. The base is the bottom part. So if you have a four-sided base or if you have an n-sided base, all you have to do for this one is bases is equal to n plus 1. So if you have 1,002 vertices, if you have 1,002 vertices, you have 1,001 sides. For vertices, it's also equal to n plus 1. That's 1,002. Edges is equal to 2n. So if you have 1,001 sides, that's 2,002 edges. Okay? Can you give me a review of exercise 20? Okay. So let's just go over 21 really quickly, okay? So what is the sum of exterior angles of a heptagon? So there's no real solving for this one because by definition for polygons, the sum of any exterior angle of any polygon will always be 360. Okay? I don't understand number 20. Okay, we still have time naman. So for number 20, all you have to do lang is imagine two squares. And then since it says integral side length, that means whole numbers. So you can't have fractions. So you can just list down the number of sums of squares or the squares themselves. 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, up until 10 squared. So you can compare. And you can observe that 6 squared is equal to 36. 8 squared is equal to 64. 36 plus 64 is 100. That means that the area of the small square is 36. The area of the large square is 64. So the side length of the large square is 8. Okay? Okay, number 23. Find the area of the shaded region. So you have two squares. Okay, I see Madrick is raising their hand. Do you want to answer this one?
Yes, sir. So, sir, let us look from the first square. So, sir, in this part, this triangle, why this and everything is not happening. This area, this triangle is half the first square. So, we see that the area of this triangle would be 10 into 10. 10 into 10 into 1 by 2 according to the formula. So the area of the triangle given would be 50 units. Now we need to find the area of this other unshaded triangle. That is the one which is having a combination of both the first and as well as the second square. So here we get the base to be 10 plus 8, which is equals to 18. And the height to be 8 again. So we do 18 into 8. 18 into 8 into 1 by 2 again, which is equals to 72. So now we need to add 50 and 72 and deduct this square from the total area of these two squares. That is 10 square plus 8 square minus 50 plus 72 2, which is equals to 164 minus 122, which is equals to 42 square units. So the area of the shaded region in the given figure is 42 square units. So done.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Madrick. The answer should be 42. So let's just go over number 23 very quickly. One more time. So all we have to do, the area of the shaded part is just total area minus the area, let's say this is triangle A and this is triangle B, minus the area of triangle A minus the area of triangle B. So all we have to do then is 100 plus 64, the area of the two squares, minus the area of triangle A, which is 10 times 10 divided by 2, that's 50, minus the area of triangle B, which is 10, 8, so that's 18 times 8 divided by 4, and that's 72, divided by 2, sorry. That's 72. So 50 minus 72, that's 122. 164, that's 42 is going to be our final answer for number 23. So are there any questions for number 23? When I was looking at past questions, I noticed some questions that had wrong questions or wrong answers. How do you give marks for those? We don't really, our chapter doesn't handle the questions or doesn't handle how to score the questions. So I can't really answer that for HChemo. Sorry, Lynn. Oh, sorry. So are there any questions for number 23? No. Okay, I think we can continue. Okay, number 23. At most, how many lines can be formed using 18 points on a plane? Excuse me. Or do we need to explain it in such a way in exam? No, you don't need to do any explanations, just answers in the exam. Can you use squared after answer? Do you mean put a box on the answers? What do you mean can you use squared after your answer? Like unit squared? If you're answering 42 squared, that might not be accepted because that's not simplified. You have to give the equivalent of 42 squared. Okay, so for number 24, at most, how many lines can be formed by using 18 points on a plane? So does anybody want to volunteer for number 24? So we just write 42. 42 squared and 42 are not the same numbers. So if your answer is 42, you just if you mean units squared, you no longer have to write the units, okay? Just the numerical answer. So for example, in the last problem, you can just write 42. Okay, so reminders for everyone, whenever the question is asking for something with units, you no longer have to answer with units. As much as possible, only answer in numericals. So for the last problem, for example, this one, it doesn't have any units, but even if it has meters, the answer will just be 42. Okay, you no longer have to answer in units for most of these questions or for all of these questions. Only answer in units. Only answer in numericals, okay? Just the numbers. So for number 24, at most, how many lines can be formed by using 18 points on a plane? So for this one, okay, I see Jaira is raising their hand.
So I think I mostly forgot about this formula, but I'll just try. So to get how many lines can be formed by using 18 points. So we will do like 18 uh combination, I think, two,
Correct.
which is equal to 18 times 17 divided by 2 times 1. So cancel, that's 9. 9 times 17 is 153.
Okay, very good. That's 153. So let's just go over this very quickly, okay? So to solve for number 24, since we have 18 lines and the question is asking for at most, that means these 18, not 18 lines, these 18 points, none of them are collinear. So to make the most, remember, to make one line, you only need 2 points, right? So we apply the formula 18, choose 2 to make a single line. Essentially, this is asking how many different combinations of 2 points can we make, or how many pairs of 2 points can we make. So this means, and remember the formula for combination and combination are, this is equal to n factorial over r factorial times n minus r factorial. So this is equal to 18 factorial over 2 factorial times 18 minus 2 factorial, or 18 factorial times 2 factorial times 16 factorial. 18 factorial divided by 16 factorial is just 18 times 17 divided by 2. 2 factorial is just 2 times 1. So that's 18 times 17, or 18 times 17 times 9. 17 times 9 is 153. So the final answer for number 24 is just 153. Are there any questions for number 24? Okay, I don't think there are any questions. Okay, let's continue to the last part. So next we have last 6 questions for combinatorics. If Andy goes from point B to point A, each step can only move down or move left. How many ways is or are there? So does anybody want to volunteer for number 25? Okay, I see Max is raising their hand. Max, do you want to answer this one?
Yeah. If so, like this, we can use the mosquito way. The one, 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 one. 1 plus 1 is 2, 1, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4, 1 plus 2 is 3, 1 plus 3 is 4, 1 plus 1 is, this only 1, this is 2, 2 plus 3 is actually 5.
Okay, correct.
This is also 2, this is 3, 8, this is 6, 10, 11, 21, 19, and 40.
Okay, very good. So there should be 40 ways to get from point B to A. So let's just go over it. Let's solve it very quickly. So all we have to do for this one is starting from B, we count how many ways to get from B to the next point. So again, we're not counting how many steps we have to take. We're counting how many ways. So from B to here, there's only one way, right? We move to the left. While here, there's still only one way. We move to the left again, and then another way here, one, and then one. And then when we go downwards, this is still one, this is still one, and this is still one. And for every intersection, we just add the preceding numbers. So 1 plus 1 is 2 here. This becomes a 3. This becomes a 4. This one, since there's no connection, it's just 1. This one is 3. This one is 6. This one is 10. So here, this becomes a 2. This becomes a 5, 11, 21, 3, 8, 19, and lastly, 21 plus 19, that's 40 ways from letter B to number 25. We have, again, 40 ways. Are there any questions for number 25? Okay, so I don't think there are any questions for number 25. So yeah, I think we can continue to number 26. Units digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4 to form a 4-digit number such that the tens digit and thousands digit are even while the hundreds digit and units digit are odd. How many 4-digit numbers is or are there? Okay, I see Brandon is raising their hand. Brandon, do you want to solve for this one? Oh, okay. Okay, Jaira, do you want to solve for number 26?
I forgot to lower my hand.
Okay. Okay, last, Madrick, do you want to answer this one?
Sir, like I can try
Okay.
once. Sir, using the digits 1, 2, 3, and 4, we can for like any random 4-digit the total number of random 4 digits number that can be formed are 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. That is 16. So it is asked that the tens digit and the thousand digits should always be even, while the hundreds digits and the units digits are odd. So the total number of such 4-digit numbers can be let's consider the thousands place to be having two values, that is either 4 or either 2. The hundreds place also having two values that can be either 3 or either 1, and the rest only one option should be remaining for the other numbers. So I guess the total number of such 4-digit numbers were given condition are total of 4.
Okay, very good. There should be 4 numbers. So let's just go over this very quickly. Thank you, Madrick. All we have to do is multiply how many choices we have. So since it says using the digits, we have to choose one. So it says first the tens digit and the thousands. So for the thousands digit, times the hundreds, times the tens, times the ones. So for the thousands digit, if we have 2 choices here, we only have 1 choice left for the tens. And then for the hundreds and for the ones, they have to be odd. So if you have 2 choices here, you now have 1 choice left here. So you have a total of 4 numbers. Okay, so are there any questions for number 26? Okay, what about number 27? Andy has 28 $1 coins and $2 coins altogether. He has $37 in total. How many $2 coins does he have? Okay, so does anybody want to answer number 27? Okay, Max, do you want to answer this one?
Yeah. So first, Andy has 28 $1 coins and $2 coins all together. So A plus B is 28, but A plus 2B is 37. So B is, we can minus it. Plus B minus B is actually minus 9. So B is 9. So he has 9 coins. And if you distribute it, 9 times 2 is 18. And 28 minus 9 is 17, right? Yeah.
Correct.
17 times 1 is 17.
28
Yeah.
minus 9 is 19.
Yeah, 19. Oh, yeah, 19. 19. 19 times 1 is 19. So 18 plus 19 is 37.
Okay, very good. So the final answer should be 9. Thank you for that, Max. So let's just go over number 27 very quickly one more time, okay? So for number 27, all we have to do is two equations, two unknowns. So if you have the first equation, A plus B is equal to 37 because we have, oh, sorry. A plus B is equal to 28 because Andy has 28 coins altogether. But the value is $37. So that means we just multiply the number of coins by their value. So A remains A because the value of A is just the $1 coins. But for B, it becomes 2B because you have $2 coins that's equal to 37. We can just subtract these two equations. So A minus A is 0A, 2B minus B is B, or just positive B. 37 minus 28 is 9. So as you can see, B is equal to 9. That means A is equal to 18. When you double check this, that means this is A is equal to 19. So 19 plus 18, 37. So that means since we are looking for the number of $2 coins, B is equal to 9. So are there any questions for number 27? Okay, I don't think there are any questions. Okay, let's move on to the last question. How many two-digit numbers are there such that the number contains the digit 2? Okay, Jaire, you want to answer this one?
Yes. So, may I annotate?
Yes, you may.
So, it says the two-digit numbers that contain digit 2. So so we must check first the numbers from 1 to 100 that uh from the digit, wait, how many numbers from 1 to 100 that have the that contains the digit 2. So it's 19. And then to get the two-digit numbers, we must we must subtract 1 from it because this this is the one digit, not 2. One digit, the one digit number 2. So 19 minus 1 is 18.
Okay, very good. So let's just double check. Number 28. Thank you for that, Jaire. All we have to do is, first, from 20 to 29, there are 10 numbers. And then from 12 to 92, sorry, there's another 9 numbers. But remember, in 12 to 92, you have 22. And from 20 to 29, you also have 21, 22. So essentially, we double counted them. So 10 plus 9 minus 1, you have 18 numbers. Okay? So that's how we get number 28. We have 18 numbers. We have 18 two-digit numbers that contain the digit 2. So are there any questions for number 28? Okay, I don't think there are any questions. I think we can move on to number 29. It is given that the total weight of 3 apples and 3 melons is 1,800 grams. The weight of a melon is the same as that of 4 apples. What is the weight of 1 apple? Okay, I see Madrick is raising their hand. Madrick, do you want to answer this one?
Yes, sir. Sir, given given that 3 apples and 3 melons is 1800 grams, the weight of a melon is the same as 4 apples. So we can regroup the melon as 3 apples plus 3 into 4 melon. Sorry. We can make the linear equation as 3 apples plus 3 into 4, which is equals to 12 apples is equals to 1800 grams. So 15, so it would be 15 or apples is equals to 1800 grams. So 1 apple would weigh 120 grams. So now, as we know that the weight of a melon is just, okay, then I got it. 120, no. Yeah, 120. 12 would be the answer.
Okay, very good. So the answer should just be 120. Okay?
Okay, 120.
So let's go over number 29 very quickly one more time. You can use that solution. You can also do this. Just slightly different steps. 3a plus 3m is equal to 1,800. Divide everything by 3 since all of them are multiples of 3. A plus m is equal to 600. And it says the weight of 1 melon is equal to the weight of 1 apple. So A plus 4a is equal to 600, or 5a is equal to 600. A is equal to 120. So it's the same solution, but whenever you can notice that you can factor out or simplify terms to make it easier for yourself, you should. Okay, so I think we can, are there any questions for number 29? Okay, so I think we can continue with the last number. There are 42 students in grade 5. Each student has to choose at least one ball game, and 29 and 28 students like playing basketball and volleyball respectively. Find the number of students who like both ball games. Okay, I see Max is raising their hand. Max, do you want to answer this one?
Yeah, sure. First, we need to know the student that likes the total students. The total students are 42 and each student has to pick volley or basket. They can also pick both of them, but they cannot pick 0. The total student that pick basketball and volleyball is 29 plus 28, which is 57. We can minus 57 by 42, so minus 57 minus 42 is equals to 15. So 15 is the total student that likes both volley and basketball.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Max. So the correct answer should be 15. Let's just go over number 30 one more time very quickly, okay? So all we have to do for this one, notice that if there are 29 and 28 students that like playing basketball and volleyball respectively, that gives us 57 students, which doesn't make sense because we only have 42 students according to the problem. So that means some of these students actually like both basketball and volleyball and are being double counted. So we have a Venn diagram that looks like this one. So to solve for it, we just have to get the total 29 plus 28 minus the actual total, which is 42. So 57 minus 42, that's 15. That means there were 15 people that got double counted, and that's how we got 57. So there are 15 students who like both basketball and volleyball. And then if you're being asked what's the number of students that only like one of the sports, just subtract. So there's 14 students who only like basketball, and there's 13 students who only like volleyball. When you add these numbers together, that gives you 42 total students. Okay? So are there any questions for number 30?
Sir, can you go back to number like 27?
27? Okay. Okay, let's solve for this one really quickly.
Wait,
All we
sir,
have to do,
26 pala.
26. So use digits 1, 2, 3, and 4 to form a 4-digit number such that the tens digit and thousands digit, so TH times hundreds times tens times ones are even. Tens digits and thousands digits are even, while the hundreds digit and units digit are odd. How many 4-digit numbers is or are there? So we just have to multiply how many choices we have. So for the thousands, we have 2 even numbers. So this is 2. And then we only have 1 choice left for the tens. For the hundreds, we have another 2 choices. For the ones, we have 1 choice left. So that's 4 total numbers. Okay?
Okay. Po. Thank you po.
Okay, so since it's already 12:58, is it okay if I ask everyone to open their camera so we can take a quick picture before we leave?